And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Come on, everybody. Here we go.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Filmbox Podcast, the greatest movie podcast on planet Earth, and the only one that talks about the 35th Marvel movie to be released. Not really. There's a lot going on about that, but that's beside the point. I'm your host, Aaron Souza. I'm joined today by Sam. Connor is sick today, but we have a special guest with us, Brock Inge, Movie Talk with Brock on TikTok. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Very happy to be making my debut here on the pod. Very excited to be here. I'm not necessarily excited to talk about this movie, but yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Absolutely, yeah. No, we chose a great episode to have you come onto the podcast for the first time.
You did. I'm a huge Marvel guy. I love Marvel, as you can see with my hoodie of Spider-Man in the background. A bunch of other nerdy stuff, but yeah, this is interesting time at the movies.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so, and Sam, hello, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Not to totally disregard you, but you're also here. Yes. Yeah, so why don't you, before we kind of dive into the episode, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do. I mean, you got a really great TikTok channel, and I guess kind of, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Movie Talk with Brock on TikTok is where I started, and with the short form content, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, starting to get into YouTube a little bit more as well, and just my origin story was I love movies, first movie I ever saw, I remember growing up was the first Spider-Man, not a surprise here with my outfit, just loved that experience ever since, and I'm like, man, I need to start getting on there and just talking, and I thought the space is oversaturated, and I always tell everyone, if you're unique and you're yourself, I think you'll find an audience. So just kind of got on there, and my thing, I guess you could say, is I know people do out of the theater reactions, but I give my full reviews in front of movie posters, just my raw thoughts, because just trying to be as authentic as possible. But I talk movies, TV, video games, sports, a little bit of everything, to be honest, but movies is definitely my go-to for sure. But yeah, I just love just talking it up, and I got accepted to a couple of Film Critics Association, which is still weird, so I'm I guess I am a critic, in quotations, right. But I try to just come out with an every dude perspective, and just tell people, hey, going to the movies, it's not a cheap experience, as I have a kid and I have a wife and another one on the way, and so I'll just try to tell people, hey, it's either worth your money, worth your time, just keep it real. So, but yeah, that's who I am, man. I love movies.
Hell yeah. As we all do. And so Brock also will be writing a bit for the website as well.
Yes.
And,
yes.
hoping to have him on a few episodes here and there for the podcast. So, you'll see him around for sure with what we do as well. So looking forward to all of that stuff. So before we get into the review, and we've got a lot to talk about with this one, we got to do what we always do. We got to run down what we've been watching lately. Sam, why don't you kick us off? As you always do, as usual.
Yeah, so I've actually was on a pretty heater this past week.
Oh, you were on a heater.
Yeah, I watched 6 movies, which is
wow. Look at you. That's a heater for you.
Usually I go between 1 and 3 movies in a week.
Oh wow.
I just with work and stuff like that. But I watched 6 of them this week because I had 2 days off of work this week. So
nice.
I started off with if you listen to our last podcast, we did our little spin at the end. So I watched Anyone But You because I got picked.
That was the random movie of the week. That
was the random movie. And then I knocked off a couple of my Oscar nominee list. So I watched A Real Pain and Alien Romulus. So both great. I really enjoyed both of them.
Not to go on a tangent early, but what did you think of the whole stuff with Alien Romulus and the the AI CGI cameos.
So I know we talked about this before I watched it, and I'm like, I don't know if I believe you guys. And I saw it, I'm like, yeah, I believe you guys.
Yeah, it's rough, man.
Yeah,
like there's a great movie in there, and then they bring in Ian Holm deepfake, and it's like, ooh, I don't know about that.
The Xenomorph and like everything else was great. Like,
yeah,
the visuals for that were great. It's just literally that's probably what's going to keep it from winning visuals, I think. Maybe, well, in my opinion, obviously. And then I was in the mood for some old animated films, so I watched The Black Cauldron.
I've never heard of The Black Cauldron.
It's basically a Temu Lord of the Rings.
Got it. Okay.
And then I watched The Secret of Nim.
Also don't know it, but that's cool.
And then I of course watched Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah. All right, Brock. What about you? What have you seen lately? Give me the last like week or so for you.
Yeah, so started off last Saturday. I'm trying to watch a lot of movies for like Black History Month. I watched Higher Learning, which is John Singleton movie. It's the second movie after Boys into Hood, which a lot of people have seen, but not a lot of people have seen Higher Learning, and really, really good. Movie feels like it could have been made yesterday, to be honest. So with all the kind of stuff that's been going on, it kind of follows like 4 different kids that are going into to Columbus University, and it's like one of them's black, one of them's white, one of them's Latino, so just kind of just different races and kind of how they all interact with each other. And yeah, it was definitely pretty crazy. I also watched the movie that's in the background there for you, Aaron, Challengers, again, because my wife had not seen it. It's my 4th time seeing it. Loved it, of course.
Challengers is great.
It should be a war crime for all of the nominations it did not get at the Oscars, in my opinion. Like, it's just really just take Amelia Perez off and give it some. They can make it right.
That's 8 episodes in a row of trashing on Amelia Perez. Let's
go. Keep it going.
Yes.
And of course, for my Captain America rewatch, Captain America: Civil War, which is phenomenal. It's my second favorite MCU movie, which may have done me a disservice going into Brave New World, rewatching those, especially the 2 and 3.
Yep.
And then Captain America: Brave New World, of course. And then last night I watched Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee, which is still my favorite Spike Lee movie.
That's a great one.
Love that movie.
It's a great film. Awesome. Very, very cool. All right. And I have seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 movies. I'm still on my February heater. I have seen in 15 days in February, I think I've seen now 14 films. That's almost one a day, which, I still got time today. But like I believe if I were to look in my list real quick, so far in 2025, I've watched 34 movies, which is quite a number of almost at this point, like I'm like 0.75 a day if you average it out. So since the last time we recorded, I rewatched Anora because my girlfriend M had not seen it, so we watched that together. She really liked it. I think it's phenomenal, and it's probably going to win Best Picture at this point. Then after that, did a first time watch of Inception, which is a crazy movie that has been like a huge blind spot for me. Finally got around to seeing Inception. Kind of blew me away. The idea of like a mind heist is very cool. And then I had a recommendation from a coworker because I've been on a bit of a streak of really enjoying and watching movies about journalism. Spotlight, All the President's Men. Even my dad's recommendation, which was The China Syndrome from 1979. I just really have been enjoying those. So I had a coworker, he recommended The Year of Living Dangerously with Mel Gibson and Sigourney Weaver from 1982, which was excellent. Really interesting, very political for the time. So that was a good one. Follow that up with Better Man, finally, which I love Better Man. It is, without a doubt for me, the best musical and the best biopic of 2024. Loved it. Watched Baby Girl with M.
How'd you like that?
I honestly didn't really like it. Like, I appreciated it, but I just couldn't connect with it. It felt just a little out there for me, and I was like, I just didn't really care for it.
Best mic drop in or needle drop in a movie with George Michael, father figure, though. I dug that.
Yes. Oh yeah. Then yesterday, 2 days ago, I watched Air, the film from 2023 about Nike and the Michael Jordan Air Jordan deal. I work in marketing, so I have a bit of a soft spot for movies that are kind of centered around marketing, and it's just a really well-made movie. Like, everyone from top to bottom is just a pro. They match the vibe of the era perfectly. I just really love that movie for some reason. It's like a comfort watch. So, and I own it on Blu-ray now, so I figured I would watch it. And then last night I watched Captain America: Brave New World, and that was that. That was a movie, kind of. It's like felt like barely a movie, but it is what it is. All right. Before we get into the review, is there anything anyone wants to talk about within the industry that's been going on? I don't think there's anything that we got.
So there wasn't anything.
Yeah. The only thing that I've seen is more the Odyssey castings.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, Mia Goth. Yeah.
And then there was one more that was yesterday. Let's see. The Odyssey movie. There was one more casting that just got announced too. Corey Hawkins was the first person. I'm like, who? But he's was in the Piano Lesson from last year. So
She played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton too. I know.
Yes. I've not seen Straight Outta Compton, but yes. I did. That makes sense now. I did see the memes that said they cast Dr. Dre in the Odyssey.
Oh, that's fun. That's hilarious. Yep.
But all right. Well, let's talk about Brave New World then. So let me just our little stinger there. So, Captain America: Brave New World is a 2025 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character, featuring the character Sam Wilson, Captain America. This film was directed by Julius Onah, who, if you don't know, is also responsible for films like The Cloverfield Paradox. Screenplay by, and are you ready for this? Rob Edwards, Malcolm Spellman, Delon Mousson, Julius Onah, and Peter Glanz, which is always a good thing when you have 5 screenplay writers attached to a film. And story by Rob Edwards, Malcolm Spellman, and Delon Mousson. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but you got 5 screenplay writers, 3 story credits. Yikes. Starring Anthony Mackie, Danny Ramirez, Shira Haas, Carl Lumbly, Giancarlo Esposito, Tim Blake Nelson, and Harrison Ford. Cinematography by Kramer Morgenthau, known for doing TV projects like Game of Thrones, Boardwalk Empire, and Fahrenheit 451. And released this week, yesterday, February 14th, 2025, in a runtime of 118 minutes and a budget of $180 million, which it is almost surely going to beat, but maybe not by much. Sam, do you have some reviews for us to walk through? And you are totally muted. There you go.
Totally muted. Meant to do that. All right. So as usual, I'll go over my Google reviews as well as the Rotten Tomatoes. So on Rotten Tomatoes, although the movie just came out yesterday while we're recording this, it does have it started off great with a 50% from the critics. However, the audience score is up to a 78% right now.
That feels high. Like, even for it feels high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
On Google reviews, because we all love our Google reviews.
Yes.
It's sitting at a 3.3. So
that's low for Google reviews.
It is very low for Google reviews.
We see most movies that we pull Google reviews, the consensus is like a 4 or above. So
Wow.
3.3 is really low for Google
There's a
reviews.
bunch of 5 stars and a bunch of 1 stars and like a
Nice.
little bit in the middle. I'll start off with the 5-star right now. So this one says Captain America New World Order. It's not New World Order, so this is already
That was
Well,
the
it
old
was.
title. Yeah, that was
well,
the old
I know
title,
it was the original title, but delivers an action-packed and politically charged entry into the MCU, solidifying Sam Wilson's role as the new Captain America. Anthony Mackie shines in the lead, bringing depth, charisma, and emotional weight to the character as he navigates the challenges of wielding the shield in a world filled of uncertainty. Director Julius Ona masterfully balances high-stakes actions with a compelling narrative, exploring themes of leadership, legacy, and global power struggles. The film introduces gripping new antagonists, while also bringing back familiar faces, making for a thrilling and emotional, resonant ride. The action
Is the
sequences...
cohesive story in the room with us?
Jeez.
Let's see. The action sequences are well choreographed, and the film's grounded approach adds a level of realism that enhances its impact. Fans of Captain America will appreciate the film's fresh take while honoring the legacy of Steve Rogers.
That review just feels like someone went to a thesaurus and said, "Give me all good words."
Yeah.
Oh my god. I actually have one too. Before you get to the negative reviews, I have one that I found on. I just wanted to dig on Rotten Tomatoes because I was so shocked at the audience score being so high, and I just found one that really, I was like, "What? Did we see the same movie?" So this is a 5-star review on Rotten Tomatoes from an audience member. Says, was a great movie, and it seems some are just out to bomb the reviews because they disagree with Anthony Mackie's comments. First off, no, it's just a bad movie. The cast was great, and performances were as well. Mackie is beginning to come into his own as the new Captain America. First off, this is Captain America movie number 4. Anthony Mackie has been playing Sam Wilson since
The decade.
for like
2014,
14 years.
Yeah.
He's now just coming into his own. Would have loved to see more Red Hulk screen time, but can see him coming into play more down the road in upcoming films. Nope.
I don't think so.
He's in prison.
Yeah.
Great cameos, and the storyline perfectly ties in the Incredible Hulk with the current MCU. The Incredible Hulk has been part of the MCU since the Avengers, really. I don't really know how we're tying him in now at the 35th Marvel film.
Jeez.
And I wanted to point this review out because it highlights a few things for me, and like reading through the rest of them too, it's like people really don't see a lot of movies, and that's not like a bash on the movie going public, because some people can only afford to see 1 or 2 movies, or only have the time or ability to see, a few movies a year or whatever that may be. But people have gotten into such a space where they look at a film like this and say, yes, this is good. I love this. This is a movie, and it has person I like, and that's it. And they don't really think any deeper about it. And it's like this whole issue of media literacy and like really looking at something and say, oh no, they actually really didn't do anything with this. They said nothing with this. And it's like every 5-star review that I saw on Rotten Tomatoes was the same way. It was like, great movie, amazing acting, great story, thrilling and gripping. And it's like, we didn't watch the same movie. There are 13 movies that came out last year that did this better than this movie did. But, I don't know. It's just such a weird reflection on how the movie-going public sees films nowadays. Anyways, why don't you continue on with the bad review?
Okay. This is a 1-star review. So this says, dude, I am an honest reviewer and a big fan of these movies. I'm a 23-year-old and I love Marvel movies. This movie just felt, I don't know, lifeless. The only good thing about this movie was the fight, by the way. Cap and Red Hulk. It was engaging until the end of it. The villain is weak, story is weak. The main problem with this movie is Captain America as a
Jeez.
The main problem with this movie is the main character. It's fine.
As a guy who watched this thing from the beginning, all these years, he was Falcon for me. There was no way that Marvel comes in and takes him, it just makes him the most iconic character of the MCU. That's not just how it works. You can't just take an existing character and make him Captain America. This guy ranted for this.
Never read a comic book, it sounds like, ever.
Yeah, right.
In his life.
That's like
I've seen a total of 4 movies in my life. You can't do this.
Yeah.
And they were all 4 Captain Americas.
They were all the Captain Americas. What happened? Where'd he go? He was just in the last one.
That's like making us watch Iron Man and love him, but then one day randomly giving him the shield and making him the new Captain America. It's just really weird. It might be there in the comics. Not just a big fan of those, but as a person who admires these movies, you should really check with the script. It should be engaging and not just lame jokes cracked every few seconds. That was a long sentence.
Valid.
Run on.
I love Marvel, but please stop making a fool of yourselves. Can't wait for Thunderbolt and Fantastic Four.
I love how you got to add that last part. It's like, man, you got to Marvel. You're really letting me down. Can't wait for Thunderbolts though.
Yeah.
I feel like that movie's gonna be worse than this one.
Again, that is like the dual or the such a condemnation on the movie going public of like they just presented you awful product and they're like, yeah, I can't wait for the next one, guys. Let's go. Oh man. All right. Let's run through this movie. All right. Are you guys ready to go through the film?
Yes.
Let's rock and roll. All right. So, Captain America: Brave New World opens with General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross winning the presidency. 5 months later, Sam Wilson and Joaquin Torres successfully intercept an illegal sale of adamantium in Mexico between criminal Sidewinder and an unknown buyer. As a reward, Sam introduces Torres to Isaiah Bradley. At the same time, Wilson receives a call from Ross inviting him to the White House, bringing along Torres and Bradley. At the White House, Ross talks Wilson into his plan of reforming the Avengers, as well as picking the new Captain America as the face of the Adamantium Treaty. While addressing the international leaders, Bradley and 4 other men are triggered into an attack on Ross. Sam, Joaquin, and Agent Ruth Bat Seraph, Ross's head of security, stop the attack, but Bradley makes it outside only to be arrested with no recollection of the attack. Sam is fired after trying to investigate Bradley.
Before we get along, just there's going to be spoilers. We'll try not to do a lot of spoilers, but there are going to be spoilers during this.
This is, if you have never listened to an episode of this podcast, we are running through the whole movie, so there will be spoilers. But if you're listening to a podcast where we review Captain America: Brave New World and you haven't seen the movie, why?
Yeah.
So, I every episode I talk about the intro, and because I feel an intro scene is one of the most important things in a movie. This is one of the lamest intros I've ever seen. It is pure exposition dump, and in the laziest way possible, between the newscast and like my favorite moment. I knew we were in trouble. I knew from like, I think it was like the second line in the movie where they like Thaddeus Ross, Harrison Ford, is about to go on stage to give his presidential speech, and he says to his aide, "Have you heard from my daughter? Or have you heard from whatever her name is? My
Betty.
daughter? Yeah. Have you heard from Betty? Have you heard from my daughter?" It's like, okay. So we're just exposition. Okay, I see how it is. The dialogue is just going to explain everything. It's so bad.
It was rough, and I don't know if you guys noticed. There's kind of a big uproar to a little bit on some parts of the internet of like, this is the first MCU movie to not use the traditional Marvel Studios like the cards, which I did not like at all.
It was weird. It was just like, you are 35 movies in. Why now?
Well, I do something different. Yeah, no, I don't. People, it's a big thing because like they always add different characters, like they change it every time. Like it's something kind of cool to look forward to. But yeah, the opening was like, hey, if you haven't seen any of these movies or TV shows, we got to catch you up. You know, we're gonna just
here it is,
dump everything on you.
Yeah, I don't know if that was intentional. Well, obviously it was intentional, but I wasn't sure if like they were planning on doing something with it in the future, or I don't know. But
I think the problem is that this movie had 35 writers. And they couldn't figure out a story, and they basically had to say, we need to make sure that everyone knows what's happening. Like, our audience, the point was brought up, interestingly, on when I was listening to the big picture of, like, studios are kind of heading in the direction of, okay, we need to make a movie that people can follow even if they're not watching the movie. So you better explain everything, because if someone's looking down at their phone...
yes,
I remember exactly. Seeing that. Yep. So it feels very much in that way of like they cannot show anything or do anything without physically explaining what they are doing as they're doing it. And it's rampant in this movie. It's like every time they go to a new location, it's that stereotypical wide shot of the location with the name of the location, and then the characters say, "We are in location."
Yeah, the establishing shots were so like, it was right on
It's
the head.
rampant, and it's been getting worse every Marvel movie now. And now it's literally like every time they go somewhere new, they have this wide establishing shot of like, here's the place. And then they get into the actual scene, and they're like, oh, right, we made it to the place. Woo, can't wait to go to the place. And it's like, it's so designed for like, if you're just sitting on your phone, like scrolling on TikTok, you can be like, okay, they went to the place. Got it. You don't have to watch. It's embarrassing. We moved from that, though, that opening scene, to the first kind of like, I guess, in media res type scene with the intercepting the adamantium, the package as they call it, I guess. And I guess it's like a fault of Marvel and how it's been trending, in that like I watched it, the fight scene first off was full of cuts, like every punch was a cut. It was like, punch cut, and it was awful. But also these guys seem so powerful now, like they are unbeatable, and it creates zero stakes in the fight. It's just very annoying.
Yeah, especially like it's just faceless henchmen. And I think they tried to show that a little bit without skipping it too much, like when he's getting into the fight with that main henchman, which was awful. Yeah. But even still, it's like, oh yeah, Sam, he's just taking care of business like nothing, I guess.
Yeah, but they make a point in this movie that to showcase that Sam is a normal man, and like that he struggles with not having a super soldier serum, but he's just a normal dude. But this man takes punches that would kill other people. And like takes hits that would literally like absolutely murk someone, but he's fine. And it's insane to me. The power, I guess you could call it like power creep of the MCU. Like normally that's a thing in video games, but like the MCU has really kind of screwed themselves with all of that. I mean, he just feels unbeatable. And then so I watch all the fights, I'm like, all right, it's whatever. I just know what's going to happen here. He's just going to win and it'll be fine. And it's like beat for beat every single time.
One thing I do, I'm a huge Giancarlo Esposito fan too, and I think he was great as Sidewinder. And
he definitely played the character well.
Yeah, I just really like him and stuff. So
yeah, I think the one thing that this movie, I guess you could say, has going for it is that the acting isn't bad. For most of it, like the characters were good. I think we talked about Anthony Mackie having been Sam Wilson for 14 years. That plays into the strengths. Harrison Ford, in all his gruff and that like gravel in his voice, he plays Ross well, to me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, my gripe with Harrison Ford is like I mean, not to compare a few movies to one movie, but like rest in peace to William Hurt. He just kind of had like a different like presence to him, like sternness. I think that maybe Harrison Ford, I don't feel like had in this movie. I feel like it was just Harrison Ford playing his normal Harrison Ford self, and like not necessarily like this military guy. I think with like William Hurt, like he's Incredible Hulk, Civil War, Infinity War. So yeah, he had like 4 or 5 movies. Like, you know, we just got used to seeing him. I just think that maybe he's just because maybe he's a slightly better actor than Harrison Ford. I don't know. I've seen a lot of his movies, but I just felt like he didn't have that same like presence. Maybe because he's not the military guy anymore. I guess like he's supposed to be the president, and they're trying to make him change. So maybe that's why. But just something I'm like, I just maybe Harrison Ford's too iconic of an actor. I'm like, I just kind of see Harrison Ford doing his thing.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, especially at his older age. Like, he's now an icon more than anything else, and so it's like you see him in a movie, it's like, okay, they got Harrison Ford, hell yeah, and that's it. All right, let's see, what else do I got here? Oh yes, I just want to talk. I talked about the first fight and like all of that stuff. I just gotta say, man, this guy does a full on like dive at Mach speed and lands so light and dainty. It's hilarious.
It does,
like that, oh my god. And it's like the CGI across the board is pretty poor. And like, again, this is where I knew it was like, okay, we're really in for a rough time. It's like this dude literally dive bombs the ground at Mach speed and then just goes bloop.
Yep, they're all good.
And he's like, wait for it, and then like
yeah, and then it's like that
after
would
like
kill a man.
Yeah, I'm like
That was so cheesy, man. I'm like, golly, can we like? I know Sam, like, he's kind of like the shit talking Captain America. Like, he's not like Steve, where he's like serious, like I'm here to do the job. Like you could tell he likes to have fun, but I'm just like, even that fight with like the big henchman, I'm like, this is like so Saturday morning cartoon. Like, happy dialogue and talking. Like, heard you crack a rib, you're gonna be okay. Oh yeah.
I'm good. Yeah, and it just goes crazy on him again. It's just so dumb. It's rampant in this movie. Like, normally when you're watching any movie with like a large theater, like my theater was packed last night. It was very full. And all of those like one-liners, they got like chuckles. Like people were like, ah, and that was it.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie. And I don't know how it was for you guys in your viewings, but like it was literally none of the jokes were hitting with anyone. It was bad.
There was 3 other people in my theater when I went.
Oh god,
that's bad. So so Tuesday, like for press screenings, like it's like people who are seeing it for press. There's like maybe 20, 30 people. Like it's a very serious crowd most of the time, and like it got some laughs. Then I saw last night with my friends of like the opening weekend crowd. Ours was pretty. I think it was pretty close to being sold out. And same thing, Aaron. It was just like like it wasn't like getting.
Yeah, you get like a line that was. Yeah, you get like a line that's not bad, and it's like, and that's it. It's just there was nothing.
Exactly.
I think I don't know if MCU's turned to trying to be more comical. Like I know that
definitely have
Thor: Love and Thunder. Oh my gosh, that was just way too much.
I just got done. I just got done with therapy with that movie, so just careful. That was bad. That was like they let Taika Waititi just go way overboard.
Yeah.
Like
it's just
that fucking goat.
Oh my god, it drives me nuts. And now whenever we play Marvel Rivals, you hear the stupid goat on the one map, and it's just it drives me nuts. I don't know. I feel like Marvel really has lost its way since Endgame. And Brock, I know we haven't chatted much about like MCU as a whole, but I have been a staunch for years now that like Endgame should have been the end of the MCU. It should have been done. And because that was somehow they figured out how to do a full cohesive story that interconnected 20 movies over the course of a decade and told a story that made sense, that people connected to, and that people loved, and that was good, and had some really good filmmaking in it. Everything they have done since Endgame has been like them grasping to try and reach those levels that they did before, but they just can't do it. And it's like every movie since then has been that bad. And I don't know. I firmly still believe, and I have yet to be convinced otherwise, that if you had ended it at Endgame, it would have been the greatest cinematic feat of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, plain and simple.
Well, it's very simple. It's because of money, obviously. That they,
yes.
they did not. They decided to continue, but no, everything you said is good. I mean, their problem is that instead of trying to do something different, they just saw how high the high was of Endgame, and you can't recapture that. You know, people are like, well, and again, the hardcore Marvel fanboys, I call them all the time with my comment section, like, not every movie needs to be. That's how they sound in my head. Not every movie needs to be Avengers Endgame. It doesn't need to be like, you just need to have a good movie. It's like, well, that's the thing though, is that they're trying to replicate it. You know, for a 35th movie, like you said, Aaron, in a franchise, for it to just be fine. That's not good in my opinion. Like, you know, that's like, if that's good enough to you guys, then, you know, Marvel doesn't listen to ratings. They're going to listen to money. And so if this movie doesn't do well, or if it does well, they're like, oh, well, hey, they're fine with, you know, a bunch of reshoots, stuff like that. You know, exactly. But the thing with Marvel, the brand has been diluted because it's been oversaturated. Like you know, back in my day, like it was two to three Marvel movies a year. Like when they started doing 3, like I remember in 2017, that's when they started doing like 3 a year for a few years. I was like, holy crap, like this is crazy. Like this is insane. You know, and then we take a break. We have the pandemic. Then you start 2021 off with 5 TV shows, 4 movies, right? And it's like, ooh, like, it's kind of like, you know, how I was talking to somebody a couple weeks ago. It's kind of like those family members that you really like seeing like around like the holidays. Like you get to see them once or twice a year, you know. But like, it would start to kind of lose its specialness if you saw them every month, you know.
Yeah,
and
right.
that's kind of how it feels with Marvel. It's like, it's good to see you, but like, it used to feel a lot more special because it wasn't all the time that we got to see it, you know? And so, like, even this year, 3 movies, 5 TV shows, you know, animated, and like, it's, you know, less is more, you know?
Yeah, it's like that cool uncle, like you said, that you see once or twice a year. And it's like, oh man, this is really cool. But then that uncle moves in next door to you, and you start to see him hanging out on the porch in his underwear, and like he's like just hanging around, like loitering all day. And you're like, dude, what? Maybe you're not as cool as I thought. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think that's just instead of doing something new, they've just constantly tried to every movie. It's just too much, and I think a lot more of what we used to kind of just be fine with has just kind of, we're not okay with it, you know, like as far as some of the poor writing, I can suspend my disbelief like anybody, but sometimes I'm just like, oh, I can't do it, you know, and the constant reshoots, they're coming out, you know, people are, you know, the visual effects teams have really been outspoken these past couple years, and it's just not been. And people will try to defend it. I'm like, it's okay as a fandom to just admit when something's not good. Because if you don't, things aren't ever going to get better, you know? And like, we could talk more about this. I feel like I've been around. But like, we're getting Avengers Doomsday in a year and like 3 or 4 months. Yeah. That's insane. It took 10 years to build up to Thanos in the Infinity Saga. I'm super nervous for that.
Yeah, and there's been nothing. I mean, even... we can, you know, I'll talk about it now. That post-credits scene, which I hate how everyone has been so trained to sit and wait to the end of the credits for a post-credits scene. And because literally my theater, not a person left after when the credits started rolling. And I was like, man, what? And I was sitting there like, do I really want to stay? And I knew I was going to have to see it because we were reviewing it.
Sure.
But like, even then, it's like everyone was sat there waiting because Marvel knows that, you know, they got to leave the little dangly bits at the end. And then you look at the scene and it was like, he's like, yeah, there's other people coming, guys.
We know.
Okay, we knew that. Who 5 years ago.
Give us name drop or something like that.
That's at bottom 5, like one of the worst post credit scenes ever. Like, and I mean that, like genuinely, that was you could totally like love the movie. Anyone who tries to defend that, come on now, like that was that was totally a reshoot. Like it was awful.
Yeah, no, it's just like they have gotten lazy enough in the way that they make films that there feels like there's no reason to want to go anymore. Like, you talk about, like, what's, quote-unquote, the heyday of the MCU, you know, the era of like Civil War or Winter Soldier, or even like the original Iron Mans and stuff like that. Even the not so good films like the Thor Dark World, and they were at least trying to do something or had something to say. And the good films they were films that took place in a genre that also happened to be superhero movies. Yep. Like Civil War or I guess let's say like Winter Soldier was like a political spy thriller, which is what this movie tries to be also, except that movie was political thriller spy movie first. And then, oh yeah, as part of that, there's some superheroes. This movie is how much superhero stuff can we dump into a story and then put it together in some kind of way that kind of makes sense. And it's just poor. Case in point, in this section of the film, getting back to the film, the actual parts of the film, this whole like assassination attempt happens at the White House, and like leading up to it, it was a whole bunch of nothing. Like nothing really I cared about was going on. But like they have this thing of like, okay, all of a sudden this guy and multiple people just start attacking the president out of nowhere. It's clear that there's, something wrong with them. I mean, immediately I was like, oh yeah, they're just mind controlled. I mean, we've seen it before. The sleeper agent stuff is not new. We saw that with Bucky and the Winter Soldier arc and all that stuff like 10 years ago. But no one in the movie acknowledges this at first. Like they're all like, how could he do this? I can't believe this. And Thunderbolt Ross has this whole thing in the war room where he just like gets pissed at Sam. And it's like, I can't believe you brought him here and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, does no one like even remember that sleeper agents are a thing? Like you heard the music happen. Like you knew that's what it was going to be. And no one acknowledges it until like 30 minutes later when they're like, oh, hey, maybe it was mind control. It's like, no shit.
Yeah.
Well, when that happened, he was literally like, oh, like, let me hear your part of the story out. And then let me hear your part of the story out. And then all of a sudden he's just like, get out. You're fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just like a massive heel turn. I literally have in my notes, it was such a huge heel turn.
Yeah.
It's just like, what happened out there? Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, it felt like such a forced conflict setup for the story. And like, I'm like I totally agree with you guys. I'm like, the dude was a Winter Soldier. He was the first Black Winter Soldier. I'm like, do we not just acknowledge that like he could have been mind controlled? Like he's like, nope.
Yeah, right.
Get out. I'm like, oh my God, that's terrible. Like even my buddy who I talked to last night, he was like, do they not remember Bucky Barnes? I'm like,
apparently. That was literally my exact thought when I was sitting there. I was like, it's so obvious. No one remembers this. Oh man. That's what happens when you have 8 script writers. All right, so anything else that anyone wants to touch on for this section of the film?
The thing, I don't know how you guys feel with this, but the thing too I thought was really stupid was like Isaiah Bradley would go through all of his trauma on the Falcon and Winter Soldier, how he was, wrongfully in prison, experimented on, and like I don't know, why would you go back to the White House and the people, the government who imprisoned you? Like, I know Sam kind of convinced him, but I'm like,
it was
dude,
weird.
I wouldn't have gone back. I would have been like,
yeah, it was weak.
I'm cool. Save your speech, bro. I'm not going back there.
Yeah, right. I mean, and you knew, like, story-wise that, like, something was going to happen now that he convinced him to go back. It was, like, obvious. And, yeah. No, I agree with that completely. It just felt like after all the crap, and I hate too that they had to like re-establish who Bradley was because no one watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So yeah, it's just nuts. All right, anything else, Sam? Do you have anything that you want to mention before we move on?
Nope, I'm all set.
All right, so next section. Sidewinder attacks Sam and wounds him, but is ultimately incapacitated by Sam, but not before taking a call from the buyer. Sam has Torres track the caller's location down to a secret military base, and Wilson and Torres investigate a hidden site in Virginia and discover that Samuel Stearns, Mr. Blue from The Incredible Hulk, was the buyer and has been pulling the strings all along. He used mind control on Bradley and the others to attack the president, as well as others they have come across, after Ross reneges his promise to release Stearns, and Agent Ruth Bat-Seraph's investigation also leads her to the site. After the trio escape from the laboratory, Sam and Joaquin are taken into custody. Something I just thought of while I was reading this is like, all of this stuff happened, and like, disregard the fact that like mind control was a thing. Like, how did they not think immediately to be like, hey, maybe the guy that we kept prisoner who's ultra smart and like a bad guy could be behind this? I don't know. It's weird. It's weird that they just like shoehorn all of that stuff in.
Aaron, you're thinking too much. It's a Marvel movie, man. Turn your brain off, man.
I know, man.
You could be the 36th writer in this movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah. I would not. I feel in a way for the people that had to try and put something together out of this, because I know that they looked at all the drafts of this stuff and said, "There's nothing here. There's nothing. Like, how do we put something together out of nothing?" And obviously they couldn't. The ambush that Sidewinder has against Sam is wild. Just like out of nowhere, broad daylight in the middle of a town, just starts shooting the shit out of them with assault rifles, and it's like, what? What is happening? Awful.
Did you guys think, like, where's his shield? Like, why doesn't he keep his... How would you not keep your shield on at all times?
Yeah, right. You are Captain America. You are basically, like, public enemy number one for every bad guy in this movie for the sake of the film. Why would you not have your stuff on you at all times? One thing I do want to mention with this movie is, like, it playing into the beats that Marvel thinks works. I think it's like the number's like 3 to 4 times throughout this movie that Sam Wilson kicks the shield up to his arm. It's like every fight scene, he drops the shield and then kicks it up to his arm, and it's almost like Marvel's like, hey, you remember when that happened and everyone loved it? Well, you're gonna get it again and again and again and again.
Let me quote the movie. You're not Steve Rogers.
Oh my gosh.
Literally.
Like, we already had a whole series of this. You tell me.
Like, no shit, you're not Steve Rogers.
Oh man. I don't know if you guys noticed or even acknowledged it, but man, there was some really blatant product placement too in this section of the movie with the Peloton. Air Force One.
Yeah.
It was so bad. It was literal, like, straight up unabashed product placement in an MCU film. Like, I want to know how much Peloton paid for that. Oh God. My favorite quote of the movie, and one that could go down as an all-timer, much like Madame Web's, he was with my mother in the Amazon researching spiders just before she died, is Sam walking into the Camp Echo 1 and says, "Why is there a lab in this prison?" It's like, that is just the dumbest line. Oh my God. Why is there a lab in this prison? I don't know, Sam. Why don't you figure it out?
That's why you're here.
Yeah.
As if the audience can't tell that it's a lab.
You're right.
In a prison.
I think it's just as much as the callbacks to the original Hulk, like the Incredible Hulk, the 2008 film, was great. I think it maybe relied a little bit too much on that.
A little. They definitely did. A lot.
Yeah.
As well as like the adamantium and stuff like that. Because like when that was brought up, like the 3 people in my theater were all like, there was some oohs and ahs, obviously, but
adamantium, and every like Marvel bro was like, "Oh my God, it's the X-Men!"
Yeah, and they really did nothing with it. Without So you bring up a good point, Sam. Like, one of my biggest criticisms of the movie was like, and it's being thrown around a lot, but just because something's popular doesn't mean it's not valid. Like, this does feel like an Incredible Hulk too, with some of the elements, and like, why build the back of your first Captain America with Sam Wilson off of the back of like one of the least popular MCU movies, a movie that came out 17 years ago, really was the biggest head scratcher for me. And I know Universal has the solo rights to Hulk. Like, I don't know if you guys knew that. Like, that's why he can't have another solo movie, and I get that, but I'm just like, man, I know his rogue gallery isn't deep, but I'm just like, this is interesting.
Yeah. And it just feels like we've seen enough of Hulk through the rest of the MCU. Like, we've seen his kind of story and struggles. We don't need more Hulk stuff. Like, I just don't care.
Well, after they, like, I just don't like how they made Hulk not, like, big smashy boy again. You know,
I'm over Smart Hulk. Get him out of here, dude. I'm so over it. Like, just him being like a bro. I'm like, what is this?
No, Hulk is Hulk.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. I honestly don't have a lot of stuff for this section because it is really just like straight exposition dump. Again, everything was just. It felt like. I wrote this in my notes later in the film, but like up to this point, we're getting to like halfway through the movie, and it feels like we're still setting up the movie. Like there's no story here. It's just setting things up still, and it's like this is like Act 1 of a larger film, but like it's the 35th Marvel movie. We should not be doing origin stories and setup films at number 35. It just makes no sense.
One thing I just thought about. So this whole Samuel Stearns thing, like taking mind control with like the music and stuff. I don't know why, but this reminded me so much of The Incredibles 2 with Screenslaver.
Oh my god, Screenslaver.
I'm like,
that movie.
I mean, they probably took it from it, to be honest. They probably did.
Well, the thing is too, like, I don't know how much you guys know about like the leader, but like his comic book roots, like, just get like he could do mind control. Like, don't say he invented the technology. Like, just go full comic book if you're gonna do this. I mean, he looks ridiculous as it is. Just give him his powers. That was kind of baffling to me. Yeah.
Also, too, I guess, kind of in the last section, but really, I mean, you see it throughout the film. It's like, it was obviously a need to get people in seats, but like the whole Red Hulk stuff, they obviously are building in the movie for this to be like a reveal at the end. But it was all over the marketing. Like, everyone knew, it's on the posters, like everyone knew that Red Hulk was in this movie, and they knew that Thunderbolt Ross was Red Hulk. So going into it with that knowledge, it's like you look at like, oh, he's like taking the pills, it's like, okay, that's, you know, all right, that has to do with him Red Hulking out, like, very clear. And it's just like it's such again, a condemnation of where MCU is now, is like they built this film around this big reveal in the last 20 minutes of Red Hulk being the villain or being in it. But the marketing of the film was all about like, hey guys, we got Captain America and Red Hulk's in the movie. And they just don't do anything with it, first off. And the you know, they play it, the script plays like it's supposed to be this big reveal, and it's not.
Yeah, I think a big problem too is like with that, the audience is ahead of the film the whole time. Like you said, it's like we're just waiting. So that makes the pacing seem awful. It's like,
my God.
And they build up to this big, huge moment. It's like, you better bet I'm right. You know, if I'm right, or whatever the leader says to Sam as he goes on the fight. But it's just like, okay. And then it's like, okay, he's in it for like 6 minutes.
Yeah. Awesome. it's so bad. All right. Anything else for this section of the movie before we get into the next part? All right. With the Adamantium Treaty in limbo, the major nations all race to get to the Celestial first to harvest the adamantium for themselves. At Celestial Island on the Indian Ocean, Sam and Torres stop 2 rogue pilots from attacking the Japanese fleet to prevent a war between Japan and the U.S. Although successful, Torres is injured. While watching him be treated, Sam is met by Bucky amidst the congressional campaign. Sorry. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And is reminded why he was selected to be Captain America. Sam's Navy friend Dennis Dunphy discovers that Ross's pills contain gamma radiation, but is unable to inform Wilson after being intercepted and murdered by Stearns. Something we haven't talked about yet is kind of the themes, I guess, that this movie tries to touch on, being like a political thriller that almost feels akin to like how things are going right now in this country, of like really tense allyship and relationships with other countries. And, you know, I'm not digging into the political side of this because that's not what this is about. What I mean to say is this movie does all that stuff really poorly. Like, there's it just, again, feels no stakes.
did they ever explain? It's literally just France, Japan, and India,
New Delhi.
Right? Yeah, India. Like, why just them three?
Yeah, I don't.
Did they ever explain that or
understand.
no?
No.
Okay.
It's probably some of Marvel's biggest markets for movies. Like they do some of that stuff
probably,
in
honestly.
other countries. I'm not even kidding. That's
That's
probably
honestly
why.
probably what it is.
Probably. Oh my god. Yeah, no, and yeah, I was wondering that too. I was like, why are it only these countries, and why like no one else wants a part of this? Like, and I can see if you would explained it like it was the countries around the Indian Ocean where this thing popped up. But it's not. Like, France is nowhere near that. The US is nowhere near that. And why? What? I don't know. It makes no sense. Also, speaking of all of that stuff too, this is like the first major acknowledgement of the Celestial and all of the stuff that happened with the Eternals. But like, even though they talk about it, it's really not explored at all, just beyond the fact that this is a place. And oh yeah, they built some military bases there.
Oh, and it has adamantium.
Yeah, it has adamantium. It's like, this should have been a much bigger deal. I mean,
I agree.
It should have been a bigger deal multiple movies ago, but even in this one, if you're going to acknowledge it, there's like no... It's like, yeah, it exists. You know, political, like, countries are fighting for it. It's fine. It is what it is. Well, how did you guys feel about this whole, like, extended fight scene with the pilots and the carrier and stuff like that?
It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like anything to write home about, you know?
Yeah.
As far as action wise, this is probably the one part of the movie I actually really did enjoy, because we saw it in IMAX, and like it actually was pretty thrilling. A couple interesting CGI spots, but I thought it was pretty well done, and I thought it was just kind of cool. You know, how the shield was bouncing off the missiles with Red Wing. I'm like, okay, that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You got me there. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I was like, I'm actually feeling something in this movie. Like,
yeah, right.
What is this? I forgot what it was like. But yeah, I thought that was cool, and I'm like, kind of predictable. Like, you got the hot shot who's not going to listen to the older mentor. He's going to get hurt, and I'm like, all right, yeah, beat by beat. And again, the Bucky cameo, great to see him. I love Sebastian Stan, but like, did we not just have a whole series of going through with Falcon and Winter Soldier of why he wasn't going to take this serum?
Exactly.
And like, why they just are kind of regressing all of the progress I think the character had, just to remind you once again, hey, if you didn't get it, like, the problem with the dialogue of this movie, it's about as subtle as a hammer. Like, there's nothing for the audience. It really is. Like, it's just like, oh, we're going to tell you exactly what we're doing, exactly how the characters are feeling, where we're going, just to dumb it down for you. Like, that dialogue was just like, you know, you got this, Sam. Like, you could be captain. Like, it's like, I don't want to take this serum. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, we already went through this. Through this.
I mean, I think it speaks to the fact that no one watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and they're like, we got to do this again. We got to have these moments again.
Yep.
But like, I thought the same thing while I was watching it. I was like, what? We had this conversation already. Like, we had a whole series that looked into like Sam not feeling like he was adequate enough to be Captain America and struggling with those feelings, and then coming to terms with it, and then also him not wanting to take the serum, the super soldier serum, and wanting to be like just a normal man who represented normal people. And like, we had all of that already, but they just had to keep hammering it down for the people who didn't see the other stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Which I keep saying it, by the 35th film in your franchise, you should not be doing that.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I think that brings up another good point about all these TV shows is like a majority of, not a majority, but like most of MCU's fans, like, they don't have access to Disney Plus, and all these shows are Disney Plus exclusive. Like, again, it's just the money grab that they just, oh, you have to sign up for Disney Plus in order to watch these TV shows. Like, in the beginning, in like phase 1 and 2, like maybe even 3, like it was all released in theaters. There was on TV. Yep. Like you didn't have to watch 34 other movies and 17 TV
Feels like
shows.
Homework. Yeah, it's no one wants to do homework. That's a great point, Sam. You shouldn't make your audience feel like they have to do that.
Yeah,
right. And
which is
like,
again why we should have ended after Endgame, and like all these other movies that they were going to make, they should have just made standalones, like not interconnect them at all, you know?
Yes. There are, I mean, they felt like obviously they had to go big or go home with this whole next phase of the MCU. But like the problem with doing that is you lose the reason why the other movies were so good in the first place. Like, yes, they brought the films together in an interconnected way, but they did that in mainly just the Avengers films and then like Captain America Civil War, but they did that in a really strong and intelligent way. These movies are, how many of our superheroes and people can we throw into this movie? Because we gotta interconnect them all. We gotta interconnect them all. But like, you don't have to do that. You know, those original films told really strong stories that self-encapsulated. Like, you watched them, they were a beginning, a middle, and an end, and they made sense, and they told a good story, and that was that. And then you find out later, oh, okay, these are starting to get interconnected in this way. And you have this, again, like I said, it was a feat of, an incredible feat that they were able to pull that off in such an amazing way. And like, now they've just sullied it by just trying to do Endgame every single time, like you said, Brock.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. I still find it hilarious that Bucky out of nowhere is running for Congress. It's like, what is that?
It's a Thunderbolts tease. That's all it was. It's like, yeah, come see him in May. Why he's in a suit.
Yeah, right. It literally all that was. It was just like a trailer within the movie. Like, you're excited for this one, right? If you didn't, here it is. You'll see him later. Goodbye.
It's like that review I just had. I'm excited for Thunderbolts.
Right. Yeah. All that being said, yeah, that's hilarious.
It's like it was made for the people watching the movie to be like, "Oh my god, the Thunderbolts guy! It's the Thunderbolts guy! Gotta go watch that."
It's the Leo meme.
Yeah.
Whoop.
Yeah.
That's it. Hey, look. Oh man. Just to go back real quick and touch on the fighter pilot scene, like that whole fight. I don't know about you guys. It felt like it just dragged on forever for me. Like it was a long scene, and towards the end, it was kind of like, okay, like let's start wrapping it up a little bit here. I don't know. I don't know if it's just my opinion of like extended action sequences, but it just felt long, like really long. But that's just me. Is there anything else that we want to touch on in this section before we move to the last section of the film?
I definitely think they should have too. When Ross was tweaking out to get
oh my god,
the Hulk, they were like, "Hey, you just like bent a pipe really hard, like, you know, like what's going on there, guy?"
Or when he smashed the table and it crashed.
Yeah.
Smashed a granite table.
Everyone's like,
it's like, wait a second.
He's just stressed. I'm like, what are we doing? What is this?
I will say, to the movie's credit, the scene of him struggling not to turn and the ship was very. I was actually in it. Like I felt it. It was cool.
Yeah, it was like when his eyes started to turn red, it's like, and like the leader's just like, let it out. You know, I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, because the part of me was like, oh shoot, is this where we're actually gonna get it? As opposed to like the scene they've been marketing. Like, did they save something for us? Nope.
No, they did not. They absolutely did not.
The little tease.
Yeah.
Nope. All right, let's go to the last section here. Before he is arrested, Stearns exposes Ross to the public, causing the president to change into the Red Hulk. Bum, bum, bum. He rampages on the White House property while fighting Sam, but Sam lures Ross to the cherry blossom field in Washington in an attempt to use the president's memories with his daughter, Betty Ross, to stop his rampage. Using the kinetic energy stored in his vibranium wings, Wilson knocks down Ross, and injured Wilson then reasons with Ross, allowing the president to revert to his normal self. Following the incident, Bradley is exonerated while Ross has himself incarcerated at the raft, where Wilson and Betty pay him a visit. In a post-credits scene, Stearns, also incarcerated at the raft, warns Wilson of an incoming attack from other worlds. We finally get the Red Hulk transformation and reveal. And it is the lamest reasoning for him to transform in the movie. Like, we just said, it would have been way better on the carrier because there was actual like reason and he was being manipulated and all that. This scene, he's having a press conference and he's like, no, I have to tell them that I'm dying and all this stuff. And then is like, oh, Hulk smash. And then just Hulks out. It's so dumb. It's just so dumb.
Yeah, I thought about this too after. And I'm like, you know what would have been a great like trigger? Is like if we do end up, well, obviously we see Betty, but like if Betty shows up and like somebody and like Stearns just like fucking kills her or something like that.
Oh my god, that would have been
kidnaps
crazy.
her. That would have been great.
Yeah, kidnaps, kills, or something that happens to her or something like that. That would have been like a great.
Yeah, I mean that would have raised the stakes and been like a real reason for him to turn. He turned in this movie because his security guards were holding him back from talking. It's like, okay.
Because you really think Liv Tyler is going to come back in a future MCU movie?
No.
As Betty Ross? I don't think so.
No.
I'm surprised they even got her to do this one.
Collected a little paycheck. And went back
right.
into obscurity. Yeah, I agree. And like when I saw it last night, like there was someone a couple rows behind me. He was like, "Oh, so surprised." Or he said something like, "Oh, about time." I was like, "It's about time." I was like,
right.
"Oh man, yeah." I'm surprised again because the audience that we know it's coming. And like they build up to like this big reveal. And like you going back to Endgame again with this phase of Marvel. If this is like Marvel when it was actually good, like that would not have been a reveal. They would not have marketed that at all. Like that would have been a huge reveal in theaters. But like you said, their brand is not what it used to be. So they got to get butts and seats, and so they got to market this entire movie behind that. So
right,
which is why I believe it has a cinema score of B-, because I think a lot of people are like, yeah, he wasn't in this movie much at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's so true. And then we get this whole fight scene with the Red Hulk, and it just looks horrible the whole time. The CGI is bad. The cherry blossoms scene, like the fact that they couldn't even just do like a set with fake cherry blossoms and they had to do CGI cherry blossoms is laughable. And then even the scene at the end where they like had this fight and they really like knock each other down, and then it cuts to black, and then Sam like wakes up and he's like, I hope I got him, and then he comes like Red Hulk reappears. It all looks so horrible. The CGI is terrible. It's clear that they filmed it on a studio in front of a green screen and that it was literally only Sam Wilson on the screen and no one else was there, and it was disgustingly bad. And like all of the reshoots and all of the changes and pickups that they had to do, it's like it's clear that they stitched it together. They had to like figure out how to make it a movie while they were making it, and it was just disgusting.
Sun's getting really low.
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, we're doing this. This is what we're like. I saw someone on Twitter. It was like, if Captain America: Brave New World was realistic, like. When he was starting to talk to him, it was like a AI recreation of like the Loki scene in Avengers.
Yeah,
like he would have grabbed Sam and like just smashed him or something.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah, that CGI was rough. I think it was was it a blue screen, you think, or was it a green screen? It looked terrible.
It was one of those. I mean,
it didn't look great.
It was definitely not actual. It was definitely not real.
It was just way oversaturated, like the lighting. It was bad.
It's horrid. It's just disgusting to look at. It's insultingly bad to look at. I don't know. At the end of the day, like, this is a movie that feels like it's it's an origin movie at the fourth Captain America movie. And when you get to that point, it's like, what are we doing? Like, really, what are we doing here? And the Red Hulk was only in it for like 5 minutes. The climax of the movie was so short. It was incredible how like it all led up to a 5-minute fight scene, and then it was over. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know, man. It's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. All right. Is anything that anyone wants to touch on in this last section before we get to our scores?
That was pretty much it.
I think that really explains a lot with how this movie is.
We ranted enough about Marvel today.
Yes. Let's go to our score. So if you're unfamiliar, if you're new listening to this episode, and for Brock, for you, for the first time being on a review, we do we do our scores in 4 parts. There's 4 total scores that we give a movie. They're broken into categories: acting category, story and script, audio and visuals, and then our overall enjoyment, which is like our final big score of the movie. So, Sam, why don't you kick us off with your acting score?
Okay. Acting, I feel like this is probably the strongest part of the movie. I actually didn't really mind the acting at all. I think Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford were great. You could really tell Anthony Mackie loves this role and wants to be a part of this role. It's just unfortunate that he's getting screwed over by the writers. And he's great. And he's great Captain America too, Sam Wilson. I think Giancarlo Esposito, as much as little we saw him, I think he did great. I hope we see him in the future, which I think we are going to. And then I guess I forget the Joaquin Torres. I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Danny Ramirez.
Danny Ramirez. I think he did fine too, but he just kind of fell into that hacker role. Is like, oh, can you get me in? Done. Got it.
Yep. he was very much the sidekick / hacker / comic relief character.
Right. Nothing really stood out too much, but nothing really was like, oh, that's like terrible acting. So I give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Awesome. All right, and so I also gave it a 3.5 out of 5. For a lot of the same reasons. I mean, like you said, Anthony Mackie is a lot of fun. I thought that the characters, like the actual performances themselves, weren't horrendously bad. I did not enjoy the I don't even know her name, Ruth Bat-Seraph, and I know there's a lot of controversy around her, and I didn't think she had a good performance. I didn't even know who she was as an actress, and I'm not going to dive into the reasons that there's controversy around her inclusion in the movie, because that's, for another conversation that's not this podcast. But, it was fine. Her aside, like, I enjoyed Harrison Ford's gravel, as cringy as it was at times. It was, fun to watch, and everyone else was, not offensive. So 3.5 out of 5 for me. Brock, what about you? What is your?
I'm also gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5 as well. I think that's a fair score for the acting. Like I said, I think the passion that Anthony Mackie has for Captain America, the script and the direction, unfortunately, did not match. But he does care, and I even said this in my reviews. I do see him leading the Avengers. I can see that now, finally, like with this new phase. And I thought Harrison Ford was good. I do prefer William Hurt. Again, rest in peace. Great actor. Yeah, going back to is her name Ruth? Was that the character's name?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. She was pretty bad. I thought the actors, and I know we didn't talk about it, but even her, like, I'm like, this is like a 100-pound woman body slamming girl.
Oh my god, yeah,
I know tiny. She's Black Widow, but when like one of my buddies, like we kind of comment like quietly back and forth, but he was like, she looks like a little kid, like even when she was on screen, like just like how they had it framed, she looks a little anyway. But the acting was good. That I agree, it's the strongest part of the film for sure.
Yes. And even though Connor is not here, he did provide scores for the movie. Yeah. So he gave the acting a 3 out of 5 and said, Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford are very good in this. I can see Mackie has the charisma to lead a new Avengers team, and Ford takes the gruff, rageful Ross role in stride from what William Hurt, rest in peace, established. They're the only ones, though, who I thought were decent. I hate the quippy side character trope that Torres falls into, who also is just an incredible hacker. And Shira Haas, who plays Ruth, is not good at all, but half of me feels like her role was butchered down in the editing room, so she never got the chance to do anything, which is a problem we'll get to below.
That makes sense.
All right. Next is the story / script. I will kick this one off. My score is a 1.5, and it's a generous 1.5 because this is an amalgamation of like 14 stories tried to push into one, and it's not successful at it. There are moments that are fun. Like the fighter jets scene and the scene where Ross almost turns on the carrier. That moment is pretty decent, but for the most part, it just feels like 6 movies that they tried to jumble together into one, and unsuccessfully at that. Bad story. bad themes that they really don't do well to touch on, and it's just not good. And exposition heavy dialogue in every single scene, to the point where it feels like they are babying the audience and telling them what's happening, where it's happening, and like who it's happening to at every step of the way. It's just poor. So 1.5 out of 5. Brock, what is your story/script score?
I'll give it a 2 out of 5. Which is being gracious. I was leaning towards 1.5, but again, biggest faults. You're building this off the back of one of the least popular movies 17 years later. That just feels like it happens to have Captain America in it. You don't do anything with the adamantium setup. You don't tease anything like with the post-credit scene. Same thing with the Avengers. Too much of reestablishing the journey and arcs that we already went through with Sam as far as him feeling worthy with Captain America. So to regress that for an audience that maybe hasn't seen a TV show, I think is a very poor decision. You can tell when the reshoots happen. You can see it. You can feel it with the movie. And again, we're ahead of the movie the whole time when it comes to Red Hulk because we know it's coming. So very poor decisions there.
I agree. Sam, what about you?
Yeah, I also gave it a 2. It was just not interesting at all. There was like 3 villains in this movie almost, like Sidewinder, Stern, and Red Hulk. Like as much as like Stern's was the main one, I wish we could see just that one in this movie. Like they're trying to fit too many things into once. I guess the build up to the Red Hulk scene, it was like they build all this up and then like to make him turn into Red Hulk is like, oh, don't yell at me.
Stop.
Like it just didn't really feel
explain.
No. Yeah. It didn't really feel like it would achieved anything. So yeah.
All right, and Connor's score, he gave it a 2 and said, this story is incredibly bland. It tries to recapture the thrills of Winter Soldier, but it never comes close. So much felt like it was cut out of the movie that would have made it flow better. No one besides Sam or Ross have anything going on. I don't know who Sidewinder is before, but I do not care for him anymore now. The ending with the Red Hulk felt rushed, and Stern's mind control feels incredibly glossed over. Same with Torres figuring out a cure for it the second he sees the computers. We also need to talk about the power scaling of a normal guy being able to hold his own against the Hulk, and then a "this isn't you" type of ending. This movie shouldn't have been a Captain America movie when it clearly had all the pieces of an Incredible Hulk sequel. Like you said, Brock, it's a mutual feeling. All right, third score is our audio visuals score. Brock, why don't you kick us off on that one?
2.5 out of 5. Let's just say.
Okay.
Yeah, visual wise, there was a couple spots I noticed. I'm like, ooh, that might have been ADR. I don't know how many people are gonna really care, like general audiences, but yeah, visually, that I'm already seeing some of the screen grabs on Twitter just getting shredded, and rightfully so. The cherry blossom scene, especially when he's like, "This isn't," that speech. Like, there's a specific shot. I'm like, wow, that looks awful. And specific to, I am so sick. I'm curious if you care to comment. I'm sick of the nanotech helmets, man. Everything's nanotech. Bring back practical helmets in the MCU. I'm gonna start a petition. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's what I'd say visually. Just very dull. A lot of it's probably done in post. Tried to fix in post to make it look decent. So much spectacle. Like, again, some of this kind of felt like watching fireworks during the day. I'm like, I know it's cool. Like, there is some spectacle, but I'm like, I just didn't feel it. Didn't have any excitement that it should.
Yep. Sam, what about you? What's your audio score?
I was a little bit lower. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I definitely think a lot of the fight scenes were just not really shot well. And then I think they tried to do like a hallway scene, and I forget when it was. But I noticed it was like they try to do like a hallway fight scene, like they do.
Oh yeah, like when they were escaping from.
Yeah. I'm like, were they trying to do a hallway fight scene, like in Daredevil or like whatnot? But I think the design, like Red Hulk's design, was decent. Obviously, it wasn't made well with the CGI and stuff like that. But I think they did. We barely saw his face either, so that's cool.
Yeah, right. And they had to really hide the fact that it looked like Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then I think the whole Indian Ocean scene was, I think that was pretty good with the Celestial and stuff like that. Like really proves like how big it is and stuff like that. Even though there was only 2 countries there trying to take that over.
Yeah.
But like nothing was like really stood out, and there's just a couple bad parts. So.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 1.5 out of 5. It was, I mean, there were moments that were like physically ugly to look at, especially at the end. But even there were like little moments here and there, like towards the beginning when Isaiah Bradley is running away from the cops, and it's like so clearly a fake Isaiah Bradley running on a CGI backdrop.
Oh yeah.
It's just moments like that just feel unpolished and gross, and I don't appreciate that kind of filmmaking. It's just lazy, you know. I mean, obviously this was, you know, a tough movie to really stitch together, but you know, to the fault of the studio for trying to push out a piece of slop like this. Some things were okay. I know we've touched on the dogfight scene that looked pretty decent. And kind of ran smoothly, but you know the positives are outweighed heavily by the negatives, and there were a lot of them. And I don't know if it was just me, but there were some moments too where it felt like the audio mix was way off.
Yeah,
where there were moments in the action scenes that were just so loud, especially with the Sidewinder ambush towards the like middle of the movie. Where like the gunshots were just so incredibly loud and obnoxious. And again, I don't know if it was just me. I saw it in a theater with Dolby audio, and I don't know. It just like those moments just felt like incredibly poorly mixed. But 1.5 out of 5 for me. Connor's score, he gave it a 1.5 as well. He said, weakest section for me, as outside of the Red Hulk's design and a few fights like the dogfight, this movie just didn't look that good. Some fights were choreographed well, but were ruined for me by choppy cuts or by the bad lighting in Stern's lab. Soundtrack-wise, it's nothing special, just a bunch of licensed music. Stern's design looked a lot better when he was hidden in shadows, but they kept putting him in daylight.
Oh yeah, that's another thing I wanted to bring up was like the music. I'm like, it just did not fit the vibe at all.
It was just, there was a moment, I don't know if I wrote it down, where it was like, what is this music that they got going here?
I think it was for me, it was when they showed up to the White House, and I forget what that was.
I think that was it.
But it was just like, this is just not the vibe.
Yeah, no. It was so clearly just generic licensed music that they had to pull in.
Because all the other Captain America movies have had like a really decent, like good score, you know, and like the trumpets, like it felt grand and like patriotic, you know, per se. But yeah, this one lacked a lot.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to bring us to our final score, which is the most important one because that is the overall enjoyment score. Sam, why don't you kick us off with your final score for Captain America: Brave New World?
Yeah, I was sitting on this movie for a while. I wanted to. When I walked out of the theater, I'm like, you know what? This is a solid like 3-ish. After talking about it. That score is definitely going down, going more into the technical part. Honestly, I think this is probably gonna drop into like one of my least favorite MCU films, like my bottom 5. I just wish they just need to do something else with these stories, and they just need to not rush into production, stuff like that. I'm gonna give this movie a 2 out of 5 for my final score.
All right. Brock, what about you? What is your final score?
Yeah, after seeing it twice, I'm sticking with 2.5 out of 5. Just very disappointed. This is a bit, you know, they're talking about it, and I think my feelings are firm. I'm like, this is a Disney Plus series / movie that just happened to get a wide release, and they butchered it. And not this. I don't think this is a political statement, but when it comes to Marvel, I have some irritation with them when it comes to like their black-led superheroes as of lately. Besides Black Panther, they can't get it right for some reason. You know, this and then Blade, you know, has been on ice for 5 years
Who
now.
knows?
And I think they just need to let, you know, more of their creative voices shine within that space, because these deserve to be good written stories, and they're just not. There's something just with the production they just can't get right now. I don't know what it is, but I think it calls for. I'll call them out. They need to do better for sure.
Yes,
in my
I
opinion.
agree. I 100% agree with that. So I am giving it a 1.5 out of 5, and I feel like that's generous for me.
Yikes!
It's generous for me. 'Cause I hated watching this. I have a very little forgiveness for lazy filmmaking, and everything about this felt lazy. From, you know, the CGI work, which, you know, who knows, you know, in the background how hard they were crunched to work on some of this stuff, but it was unfinished. And the story is lazy and full of tropes and full of just things that they had to stitch together from different ideas to try and put together something. It was very clearly a movie that they could have scrapped and said maybe this isn't a release worthy thing, but then they decided to push out anyways and say, you know, this is gonna make us some money, and yep. I have no forgiveness for that, and I'm very glad that it's a poor excuse for a film. There's bad villains that mean nothing. There's zero stakes, mindless action throughout most of it, and the characters that are introduced are just removed from the film very quickly. Sidewinder is in it for like a quarter of the film, and then he's just gone and never heard from again. It's stuff like that just drives me insane. So I'm giving it a 1.5, and it's a generous 1.5 at that. So, all right, and then Connor gave his score as well. So he said he gave it a 2, and he said this is now the second Marvel movie that has tried to kill me after seeing it. In quotes, Madam Web. The only positive thing it does is push certain storylines further, the Avengers restarting, the introduction of adamantium, and multiversal threats. Sam can be a good lead, but this movie was doomed from the start with all the reshoots it went through and the test screening failures. I didn't enjoy this movie much, and neither did my theater, as no one reacted to any jokes or cameos.
Yep.
So if we do an average of those scores, so we had a 1, 1.5, 2, and then 2.5. So that is what 4, 5, 3. So 4, 3, 7, 8. Okay, so hold on. 8 divided by 4 is it's a 2, an average of 2. Which, if you put that into our rankings, let me just sort this. That puts us at. It is just above the bottom 5 of films that we have seen. Just above. Right above the Nightmare on Elm Street 2000 whatever, the remake.
2010.
Yeah, the 2010 one. And just below the new Baywatch with Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron. So Captain America slotting in almost bottom 5. But just barely avoiding it. So that is the end of our episode. And if you like what you listen to, you know, you can leave a rating, subscribe, follow us on your favorite podcast platform, and follow Brock on TikTok. His stuff will be linked in the show notes. You know, like he said, you know, he talks about a whole bunch of different stuff. He makes great content. And so please go check out his channel.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And, you know, and be sure to keep an eye on the stuff that he writes for the website. You can check out the website in the show notes, along with all of our socials. You can find us online, and also follow us on Letterboxd, where you can see what we're watching, when we're watching it, and you don't have to wait for each episode to find out what we've been watching. And I don't know if you want to join us, but to end each episode, we pull a random movie. I have a movie generator, and we pull a random movie to find out what we're going to be watching for next week's episode. If you'd like to join in and get a random movie to watch, we can pull one for you as well.
Yeah, I'm off on Monday. I'm looking for some movies to watch. Yeah.
All right, so we're pulling movies from anywhere from 1970 to 2023. Sam, I'll give you your movie first. Your movie is Blade Runner 2049.
That's a good one.
Nice.
Yep.
That is a good one.
All right, and Brock, do you want the next one, or do we?
Yep, go for it.
Okay, your movie is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Oh, wow.
All right.
That's so random.
I know, isn't it? And my movie is The Mummy from 1999.
Oh, that's a classic.
All right.
That's a classic.
We did a review on that last year.
We did. We literally did a review on it in October. So,
oh, wow.
all right. Well, stay tuned for that, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Film Box Podcast.